So we're in Helena, Montana, and behind me is the Montana Historical Society. What I've been told is that they have a museum that is truly one of a kind and that their exhibits are a must. Let's go check it out, shall we? So today I'm at the Montana Historical Society at their museum. With me is Anthony. Anthony is a historical interpreter and he is going to be giving us a guided tour of this great place. In your own words, Anthony, what makes this museum so unique?
Well, to start off with, welcome to the Montana Historical Society. I think the first thing is that it was started just a year after Montana became a territory. So some very forward-thinking people thought, well, maybe we need to preserve Montana's history, even though it was just a year after it became a territory.
In May of 1864, when President Abraham Lincoln signed into existence the Montana Territory, less than 1 year later, on February 2nd, 1865, the Montana Historical Society was created. So if you think about the vision of founding fathers of Montana, 24 years before statehood, creating a historical society, that's where the story begins.
Other than having just some of the most treasured of all Montana items here, or artifacts, we also have a full research center with an archives and a photo archives. There is a publication department that produces the magazine of Montana, the magazine of Western history. And also we have a very active outreach and interpretation. It's our education department.
Well, I am ready to get this tour started.
Well, Julie, let's start right here.
Okay.
Here's our main gallery, and we have on display now Joe Shirley and his really, we call it a remarkable Indian gallery.
Wow.
And Joe Shirley was a commercial artist. We know him best really because in 1910 he worked for the Great Northern Railway and produced the artwork for the See America First program. At the time that he was actually with these people, and that's on the back of the painting. So that's why you see the display here, where we have the see-through.
So
picture
on
frame.
one side it was the painting. On the other side he had almost like a little documentary of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's really
And so
unique.
where do you get something that's complete, even maybe with a comical story or something like that? And our collection includes roughly 80 of his 200. With all of the portraits here, interestingly representative of all the nations in Montana. And
you have quite the diversity too. You can even see the different colors that are used.
Well, also ages, social status. Here we have an example of some commercial art over here.
I recognize this.
Yeah, so you can see how here Glacier Park was being promoted, and of course the Great Northern Railway.
I have to say, quite cozy. This is a great replica of how Native American tents were back in the day. So they used the hides, usually of buffalo or of some sort of wild animal, to go along the teepee poles, and they lived inside of it. What's cool is the opening, that's where the smoke from the fire could go out, but yet they could have a fire to keep themselves warm and to cook their meals and to house their family. It's a really, really great exhibit right here. So right here, you can see a great example of the Kootenai fish trap. This is how people did their fishing. It wasn't just a pole and a line that was thrown out. They had creative baskets and little engineering deals that made fishing a lot easier. Oh God, there are things in there. Oh, there's a rat in there. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. So it's a wolf den and it's meant for people to be able to go in and check it out. But I'm looking in here and there's critters. I'm sure they're dead and stuffed, but still. I can't do it. I'm being a chicken. I can't do this. Okay, leave that for the kids. I'm not going in there. Let's go.
Montana Historical Society has been called the Smithsonian of the West because of the importance and the vastness of the collections, both in the museum and the research center collections. So it is considered one of the great historical societies in the western United States. Through all that period of 155 years, the collections that have been amassed here, particularly noteworthy are the fine art collections and the collection of Charles M. Russell, the cowboy artist, and so many other things really make this place very special and very unique.
I'm getting excited.
Well, we could definitely go through here. Of course, this is our Charlie Russell Gallery. We have several hundred artifacts of his.
One of the first sculpted pieces I ever saw at a person's house here in Montana was by Charlie Russell.
Oh.
And then I started realizing how popular his pieces are. Like, people love his paintings and his bronze pieces.
Now this is great. This is a letter he wrote for one of his personal friends. Can you imagine getting a letter in the mail?
Yes,
With
like that.
The envelope looking like that.
He was very, very detailed. That is super cool. That's super cool. And the way he wrote around the pictures, it's almost like something that you'd see out of a storybook.
Well, Julie, this is really one of his masterpieces. When the land belonged to God, he wanted to capture Montana or the West before any of the Europeans had come across.
Yes.
So you can see the buffalo in front here. I understand just to get the face on that buffalo, the front lead one, painted it over 20 times. He just had to have it just right.
You can see that the herd was massive because you can see the dust, you see the wolves with it. Incredible detail. These are the saloon doors from the Mint Bar that's in Great Falls, Montana. This is the bar that Charlie Russell used to frequent quite a bit. Right here, this is a great creation of what the bar might have looked like at the turn of the century. As you can see, the bottles are extremely unique. You see some of these bottles are even from the mid-1800s all the way to the early 1900s. It's really cool. This right here is a wedding dress. That's right, ladies, brown. You could wear the color brown on your wedding day. So what I learned today is that the color white for a wedding dress didn't become popular until Queen Victoria did it. Once she did it, it set a trend. Kind of interesting, I had no idea about that. One of the main things that drew thousands of people to the state of Montana was the lure of gold. Montana is definitely known for their mining towns. As a matter of fact, before Montana became a territory, over 900,000 ounces of gold had already been extracted from this great state. So another really interesting, cool feature here at the mining exhibit is that they're showing real gold. We're talking 24 karat gold mined in the state of Montana. It is incredible because there are large hunks of it in here. All right, Anthony, I'm really excited to talk about this right here, visual antes. What can you tell us?
Well, I think this part of our gold exhibit is very exciting, and you're right, we're talking about the vigilantes, and these artifacts have to do with their existence at the time. Now think of a gold strike, a brand new, the news gets around, miners flock over there, and overnight you have these camps just set up. Well, these are rough people. They're fighting, they're even killing over gold and gold claims. So you needed some type of law enforcement, and These really self-appointed vigilance committees were set up. Sometimes you could be on the wrong side of the law,
Yes.
even if they didn't like you. If they didn't like you and they wanted you to get out of town, typically they put a note on your door with the special numbers, and those numbers were 3777.
And do we know what that means?
We have a very good idea, but we don't know absolutely.
It's
But,
still a mystery, kind
it's
of.
still a little bit of
Still
a mystery. Yeah.
So basically, if you got one of these notices, it was like you need to up and leave now.
Immediately.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Then
They
if
did
you were
not
there the
wait.
next day, you probably would have been killed or hung. Yeah. So.
Wow. So I don't know how many Winchester fans that we have out there, but check this out. These are original bullets by Winchester. That's cool. So with this exhibit, it's going to give people a glimpse into time of what things might have looked like when Lewis and Clark were traveling along the Missouri, going through the state of Montana. So right here is some great imagery depicting what Lewis and Clark might have seen on their journey. It's absolutely fantastic because the paintings literally take you in to that moment. I'm sure there were grizzly bears running around, just like what we see. So this is a really unique exhibit. We're going to be learning a little bit more about Montana's brewing history. So here's the deal, folks. Montana was one of the first states to implement prohibition. Now, the thing is before that, they say that it's almost close to 150 years that people actually started brewing here in Montana. This is an interesting chart, folks. Montana is ranked second when it comes to breweries per capita. I think it's fair to say that people like their hops and they like their beer. Come with me. So this is really cool. This is an original bottle cap sealer. You have the skimmer, but these kegs that you're seeing, they're all original. So this one's from Kalispell, Montana. This was from a local brewery. It was actually the Kessler Brewery that's just south of town here. As a matter of fact, the building is still standing. Kind of cool. So let's talk about the people that started the breweries here in Montana. There was a huge European influence, but the Germans seemed to dominate the brewery industry here in Montana. You can see some of the influence right here in this stein. So Montana is big and it's vast. And because of that, we have incredible crops. Now, a huge crop that is grown here is barley. Montana literally has over 73 breweries. So they depend on the local farmers. So it really is a win-win situation for the brewers and for agriculture. It's kind of cool. This is a great photo right here. It really shows the hype of what was going on in the beer industry. If you take a look, the kegs are ginormous. People loved their beer, they loved brewing it. But I had asked a historian earlier, why did brewing take off so huge here in Montana? There's a saying out there that beer saved Montana. At one point, a lot of the water was bad, so people literally were relying on beer. I don't know about you guys, but I just learned so much about the beer industry here in Montana, and it's definitely thriving. So if you're here in Montana visiting and you're 21 and older, be sure to check out a local brewery.
We'd like to welcome everyone to the Montana Historical Society, and I believe I can confidently assure you that there's something here that will spark your interest and put a smile on your face.
So I'm really excited to be ending on this note. Behind me is a white buffalo. You may be thinking, oh, it's an albino, but it's not. 1 out of 5 million are born like this, where they have the white fur, the tan hooves, and the bright blue eyes. This buffalo was born in 1933. In the Native American culture, seeing a white buffalo was a great omen. They actually named him Big Medicine. Folks, it's places like here where you get to see a white buffalo and to go back in time to see the history throughout the state of Montana. If you're visiting Montana or if you're a local here in this state, I would encourage you guys to come on down and visit the Montana Historical Society here in Helena. Until next time, I'm Julie. So here we're seeing some of the critters and the animals that people might have seen during that time. Folks, there's even a buffalo hairball that is featured here. I thought cats were the only ones that dealt with hairballs. Who knew? We're talking 24 karat gold.